Yesteryear in Nashville, a journey into the past with the people who made country music history. And now, here's your host, Archie Campbell.
Until the mid-50s, men completely dominated the country music charts. Then along came a whole new generation of hit makers known as girl singers. And we'll be back with a very special guest to trace the emergence of women in country music right after this message. Shepard rose through the ranks of country music by an unusual route. She was once leader of an all-girl band called the Melody Ranch Girls. Although born in Oklahoma, Jean spent most of her growing-up years in California. By the time she reached high school, she discovered she had a natural talent for music. Her first professional work came as a byproduct of the Melody Ranch Girls. Country star Hank Thompson heard her sing and was impressed enough to help her get a recording contract with Capitol Records. Her first record was a duet with Ferlin Husky, a Dear John letter, followed by a solo success, Satisfied Mind. A turning point in Jean's personal life occurred when she married Grand Ole Opry star Hawkshaw Hawkins. Jean herself became a member of the Opry in 1955. She and Hawkshaw had two sons, the second of which was born after the tragic plane crash in which Hawkshaw lost his life in 1963. A winner of many awards and star of many chart-making hit records, Jean also has the distinction of being one of the first successful women in the country music field. With her outstanding work in the field, she paved the way for a whole generation of female singers. And here is Jean with one of her biggest hits. That was Jean Shepard, our guest for today. And Jeannie, I might add, You're as beautiful as ever, maybe even more beautiful.
I'm like wine, I'm mellow with age.
Mellow with age. That's the only way to go. Jean, the film clip we just saw a while ago was from a show that you did in the mid-'50s when you became one of the first women to appear on the country music charts. Yet your first big hit was with a duo with Ferlin Husky, is that right?
Right, uh-huh.
Is that when women sang, is that the way they got
1953 that was, with
53?
Ferlin. Uh-huh.
Well, is that the usual way women got their start in those days?
Yeah,
with,
they usually
with a guy?
sang. They usually sang with a band, you know, or in my case, I was singing with Ferlin, and Ferlin didn't actually want to do the talking on the record. He wanted Bill Woods or Buck Owens, who was our rhythm guitar player at the time.
Yeah.
He wanted him to do the talking on the record, but we finally talked Ferlin into it. And the first records that were shipped out on the Dear John letter, of course, I guess I was lucky. I was probably the first female in country music to sell 1 million records. And they didn't put Ferlin's name on the record. So they sent out about 10,000 of them and tried to recall them later on, when a good friend of ours by the name of Slim Willett down in Texas, the late Slim Willett, called him and told him that the new girl that they had on Capitol Records at that time was had a big hit.
Well, why do you think that you succeeded at that time when most women singers didn't?
That's a good question, Archie. You know, back then, it was just basically, I guess, probably myself and Kitty Wells.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose Maddox was singing with her brothers at the time, and Wilma Lee Cooper, of course, was a duo with Stoney. But as far as single girl singers, it was just myself and Kitty Wells. And it was hard for a girl to succeed back then because it was strictly a men's world. Now,
Yeah.
I still don't believe in ERA too much.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear a woman say, well, I can do anything a man can do. Because now my husband can lift 200 pounds of horse feed, and I can't do that.
Well, there is a difference.
But it was just really hard for a woman back then. It was hard for a woman. Capitol Records had wanted no part of me. And had it not been for a good friend of ours by the name of Hank Thompson, I would probably have never recorded.
Hank Thompson?
Hank Thompson.
Really? Tell us about that.
I had been playing music with a bunch of girls. A bunch of us high school girls had gotten together. I was still in high school at the time. And we played for church socials and little dance halls around California. And Hank Thompson come through, and he had this big song called The Wild Side of Life. So he asked me to get up and sing with him one night, which I did. And he said, young lady, how would you like to have a recording contract? And I said, yes, sir, I sure would. And he said, I'll see that you get one. And I thought, well, yeah, sure you will. So nothing ever happened. And so about 4 or 5 months later, Hank come back through and played this same place. And he asked me if I had ever heard from Capitol Records, and I said, no, sir. And you could tell that Hank was very embarrassed. And he said, you shall hear from them. And about 3 days later, I had a recording contract.
You got acquainted with them, and you got your first contract at 18?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's great. Well, when was that?
Well, if I tell you how long ago that's been, you're going to know my age,
Oh,
aren't you?
I ain't gonna, you
That's
can't
been
do
30
that
years
to
ago.
a lady.
It's been 30 years ago.
It has, well.
Yes.
What year did you join the Opry?
In 1955.
1955, well, let's see. Minnie Pearl was born backstage,
Yeah.
so she was first.
Right.
How many women were on the show then as girl singers?
Goldie Hill, I think, and the Carters were here.
Mm-hmm.
And Martha Carson,
Yeah, Martha.
and I think maybe Kitty Wells. But as far as the long-standing, as far as the female singers go, I guess you would call it, I have the honor of having the longest run at it. 27 years, right at 27
Is that
years.
right? That's great. That's beautiful. You're a part of this business and have been for all these years.
It's a great business, Archie. It really is. Kids come up and they say, how do you get started in the business? And in this day and time, it's really hard to tell them, well, you know, you got to do this or you got to do that. And there's such a thing as called paying your dues.
That's
And you
right.
do have to pay a certain amount of dues. You have to hit all those beer joints and those honky-tonks, and I think that molds you into something.
That's exactly right. If you don't do that, if you don't have
You
that,
miss out.
that's the only school there is.
Yes.
And if you don't
Yes.
get that, if you just come out of nowhere and have a hit record, and I've seen that happen,
Yes,
then they don't know what to do on stage.
that's true. That's very true.
Because they haven't been trained
It's
for that.
technically, I guess you would call it a school of hard knocks, but
Yeah.
you have to have a lot of that to go along with it. You really do.
That's exactly right. You know, when you first came on the Opry, and you were a pretty popular girl singer,
Yes.
did you ever feel any competition from the male artists, did they ever think, uh-oh, something's happening here? Did you ever feel that?
In a way, I got the feeling a few times that they thought, well, you're just another girl singer and you won't really last that long.
Oh,
But
really?
after 30 years, I think I'm here to stay.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope so.
And let me ask you this. Is it true that most agents wouldn't book more than one female artist on a show and so
That's
forth?
right. Used to, they would book, you know, back 20, 30 years ago, Archie, you'd go out with a half a dozen artists, but there would only be one girl. But just recently, I worked a show where there was like 3 girls on the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's demand for them,
Yes,
you know.
there is.
Always has been.
Yeah.
But we just didn't know they could sing for a long time.
Oh, we can do things
Now, I
besides
imagine-
change diapers and cook, you know.
Another problem that could very well have come up in getting your records played, you know, DJs were men, too. There
Yes.
wasn't any DJ women. So I imagine did you have a problem in getting your records played because you
Well,
were a woman?
Not really that much, because there weren't that many girls around. So I think a lot of the DJs would play them just to see what was going to happen, you know.
Yeah, they can
Because
do that. And get
there's
away
only
with it.
3 or 4 girls around, so they figured, well, we'll play this old gal's record and see what happens. Well, they played ours, and we was lucky.
Do you find that having women fans very important?
Oh, yes.
They are, brother.
As long as you keep the woman of the house on your side, you got it made.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
she can tell her husband, now, you go down and you buy that new Gene Shepard record because I like it. And the
That's-
old man's going to buy it just to keep peace in the family.
Absolutely. Well, and she's the one that turns the radio on, too.
That's
TV
true.
or anything.
That's true.
I think they control almost everything. But it's
Not
working
really.
out fine.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll be right back with Gene Shepard right after this message.
So happy you were my very own, but then you bought that guitar and you ruined our happy home. You told me that you're gonna be a star. I'm tired of playing second fiddle to an old guitar. You gaze at that guitar on your knee in a way that you never look at me. This love affair of yours has gone too far, and I'm tired of playing second fiddle to an old guitar. You said it wouldn't be long till you'd be number one, that we'd have lots of money and we'd have lots of fun. Well, all you've done is pick and grin and sing off key so far. I'm tired of playing second fiddle to an old guitar. You gaze at that guitar on your knee in a way that you never look at me. This love affair of yours has gone too far, and I'm tired of playing second fiddle to an old guitar. I've talked and preached and fought with you and tried about everything. If you keep a picking that old guitar, then I'm gonna sing.
I still like these songs, you know. And I'm also, I feel that if a country music fan gives a disc jockey the, you know, if they listen to him, then, and they want to hear a song played, I think that radio station or the disc jockey should be willing to play that song, because after all, the only thing that they can offer these people is a service, you know. A radio
That's right.
station can offer the country music fan a service. And maybe they can't go back and reach back that far and get some of those old records, but if they call up and request an artist, I think they should play that artist. At least give that fan that, you know, the opportunity of hearing who they want to hear.
Jeannie, you married a man who was very successful in country music. And I wonder, did he approve of you and encourage your career?
You're talking
Or did
about...
he want you to quit and be a housewife?
No, you're talking about Hawkshaw Hawkins.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh, yes, he encouraged my career. Hawk was a very fine entertainer.
Yes, he
Very
was.
fine showman.
Little thin mustache.
Right.
Handsome guy.
You know, there's entertainers and then there's showmen. And he was a showman.
Oh, yes, he sure was.
And yes, he encouraged me very much. And Hawkshaw and I got married in 61, and he was killed in 63, so we didn't have a long married life,
I
but it was
remember
a very
the whole thing.
happily married life. Left me with a son that was 15 months old, and I was 8 months pregnant with my second child when he got killed. And that boy is now 19 years old and a very good guitar picker.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
right? Hey, that's
And the
great.
20-year-old one is a very good country music disc jockey.
Mm-hmm. You remember, where were you when the accident happened?
I was at home, Archie. As I say, I was 8 months pregnant, and it was really a weird thing. I have yet for anybody to come up to my door and knock on my door and say, your husband has been in a plane crash or anything. I got a long-distance phone call from a friend in Minnesota, and it was about, 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and she said, what are you doing? I said, good heavens. I said, I'm asleep. She said, oh, my God, you don't know. Well, when she said that, I knew the plane was overdue. But when she said that, then I knew that there was something very bad wrong. And I was trying to hold on to what little I had left, and I couldn't get her off the phone. She was trying to console me, yet I knew that I had, being 8 months pregnant, that I had to get somebody to my house soon.
Right.
Because I could have been in jeopardy of losing my baby.
And as I understood it, a lot of them were in a hurry. They wanted to get back, and he was one of them.
Yeah.
And it took a chance.
He was in the
chance.
plane with Randy Hughes and Cowboy Copus and Patsy Cline. And they knew the weather report was bad, but I think that they all wanted to, excuse me, I think they wanted to get home. It was really odd. Most of our country music people are great people. They really are. They're always ready to help their fellow entertainer, and that's where they had been to do a benefit show for a disc jockey, a country music disc jockey who had really had some rough times over in Kansas.
And no pay.
No pay.
That's right. That's the beautiful thing about
Yes, it
our
is.
group. Somebody gets in trouble, and you say, well, we'll do a benefit, and if they know it's a genuine benefit,
Yes,
the only problem is getting them all on the show.
that's right. There's so many of them, right? But he was a great man, and I've got two beautiful sons. You can't say sons are beautiful. They're good looking, though. And they both look just exactly like their daddy.
And we'll be back with Gene Shepard right after this. In country music today, that are exclusive, say, to women artists as compared to men?
I don't think so, because
We
the girls
face-
have busted it wide open. And
We
I
face
think that's
basically the
great.
same problems by being a man as you
I think so.
if you were a woman.
I think so. Nowadays, though, if you don't want to record a lot of the pop sounding music, a lot of companies don't want to record you.
Yeah.
And I can understand why. I'm not putting them down, and I'm not really putting the radio stations down, because they have to make a living.
But you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah,
and your
right.
opinion,
My opinion has really hurt me at times. but
well, no.
I'm going to stick to my guns.
No, I don't. I think anybody, I know you. I know you speak out your own mind on different topics. You should, because that's what makes the world go round.
Right.
If we all agreed with everything, why, they'd all love me more
Well,
than anybody else.
I've had disc jockeys, and a lot of people tell me, well, there should be no difference in music. All music should be the same. Well, I don't agree with that. Now,
Oh,
you,
I don't do that
You
either.
might drive a Ford, but I might want to drive a Chevy. So, you know, if you want to drive a Ford, that's fine. But if I want to drive a Chevy, that's fine. So if I want to tune into a radio station, I think I should have the choice of what I want to listen to.
Jeannie, there's a lot of women that want to get into the show business, you know, as a country singer. What advice would you give them? Now, this represents a lot of people, I hope, that are watching today.
Okay.
They want to know your advice.
If you're young, get an education. That's the most important thing in the world. I'm sorry now that I didn't go into college and get a couple of years college. I graduated from high school, but by the time I graduated from high school, I was making $100 a day, and that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money now, you know. But get an education if you're young. And always remember one thing. Have confidence in yourself, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, how can you expect anybody else to? And just sing every chance you get. And if you're good enough, you will make it.
There's no prescribed route.
No.
They couldn't do the same thing you did, but they'll have to do what they're going to do, right?
Yeah. Just follow your feelings and keep your goals always on the horizon. You'll make it. If you're
Jeannie.
good enough.
You're
Aren't you?
beautiful,
We
and I
love you.
love you, and everybody
you.
else does.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Golly, our guest is Gene Shepard. and she's been talking to us about women in country music. So let's close this segment of Yesteryear in Nashville with a performance which was filmed nearly 20 years ago by Shepard, our guest for today.
The news is out all over town that you've been seen out running round. I know that I should leave, but then I just can't go. You win again. This heart of mine could never see what everybody knew but me. Just trusting you was my great sin. What can I do? You win again. I'm sorry for your victim now. 'Cause soon her head, like mine, will bow. She'll give her heart, but all in vain. And someday say you win again. You have no heart, you have no shame. You take true love, then give the blame. I guess that I should not come